Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying something simple, yet powerful. You become the person worthy of the goal by acting as if you already are that person. Now, I'm not talking about pretending. I'm not saying go lease a car you can't afford or strut around like you own the city. No, I'm talking about adopting the character, the habits, and the discipline of the person who already has what you desire. See, success is something you attract by the person you become, and the fastest way to become that person is to start acting like them today. You want to be wealthy, then don't just wish for it. Start by taking care of the money you do have, budget it, track it, respect it, because if you don't respect the little, you'll never have the opportunity to manage the lot. You want to be in great shape, then act like someone who values their health. Wake up early, stretch, eat with intention, walk like someone who has energy and pride. Don't wait until the six-pack shows up to live like a healthy person. That's how you earn it. And if you want to be a leader, walk with purpose, speak with clarity, lead yourself first. Leaders don't wait for a title, a stage, or a crowd. They start by leading themselves every single day. Acting as if is not about faking. It's about training. When you behave like the person who has already succeeded, you're rehearsing success. You're laying down the mental and emotional patterns that make that outcome inevitable. Now I'll warn you, it's going to feel uncomfortable. You'll feel like an imposter at first. That's okay. Growth always feels unnatural in the beginning, but the more you show up in that role, the more natural it becomes, until one day, you look in the mirror and you are that person. Let me ask you, what would your life look like if you acted every day as if you already had the discipline, the confidence, and the results you've been dreaming of? Because when you act like it, you attract it. So don't wait until you have it to live like it. Reverse the order. First you act like it, then you become it, and finally, you live it. Thank you. Success isn't something you chase, it's something you attract, by the person you become in the process. That's not just a feel-good quote. It's one of the foundational truths of personal development. Many people get caught in the trap of waiting. They wait for opportunity, they wait for the right time, or they wait until they feel ready. But the truth is, the moment you begin working on yourself, the moment you start upgrading your mindset, your habits, your character, that's when success starts moving toward you. Let me give you a picture to think about. Imagine a magnet. If you want to attract metal, you don't chase the pieces around the table. You charge the magnet. Once the magnet is charged, the attraction happens naturally. In the same way, when you develop yourself, your discipline, your clarity, your emotional resilience, you don't have to beg for success. You attract the conditions and the people that align with your new level. But here's where many people get it wrong. They try to get the result before they become the person. They want the paycheck without developing the skill. They want the respect without taking responsibility. They want the freedom of success without the structure that makes it possible. It doesn't work that way. You can't plant in the spring and harvest in the same hour. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you who you are. And if you're not attracting the right things, it's a sign, not of punishment, but of preparation. Life is saying, there's still some growing to do. Think about this. If you gave $1 million to someone who hasn't developed the mindset to manage it, that money won't last. Why? Because the outer result doesn't match the inner capacity. But if you become the kind of person who is responsible, thoughtful, and capable, you could lose the money and earn it all back. That's why the goal is never just the goal. The goal is who you must become in order to achieve it. Now, this doesn't mean perfection. It means progress. Start where you are with what you have. You might not have the title yet. You might not have the platform, the audience, or the bank account. That's okay. Begin anyway, because the person who becomes successful is not the person who had it easy. It's the one who decided to grow, even when nobody was watching. When you work on your mind, you begin to think differently. When you work on your values, your decisions become sharper. When you develop self-discipline, you keep promises to yourself, and others start to notice. And here's the beautiful part. When you become the kind of person who can handle more, life starts to give you more. Opportunities start to find you, not because you were lucky, but because you were ready. So don't just dream about the result, build the foundation, wake up and ask yourself, what kind of person has what I want? How do they think? How do they act? What do they tolerate? And what do they avoid? Then start acting accordingly, not to impress others, but to prepare yourself. You're not faking it, you're becoming it. And every single day you show up that way, you're sending a message, not just to the world, but to yourself. I'm becoming someone success can trust, because in the end, success isn't something you earn with a lucky break. It's something you earn with character. It's not a race. It's a process of becoming. And when you truly become the person who is worthy of your goals, life begins to open doors that were always there. You just couldn't see them until now. Acting as if is one of the most powerful principles in personal growth, yet it's often misunderstood. It doesn't mean pretending to be something you're not. It doesn't mean lying to yourself or putting on a show for others. It means adopting the behaviors, habits, and standards of the person you want to become before the evidence shows up. And when you do that consistently, something incredible happens. Those actions start to reshape your identity. They train your mind and body for success. They build the foundation before the structure rises. Let me tell you, people who achieve great things didn't wait until the goal was met to change how they showed up. They acted like someone who had already achieved it, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. They knew that if they wanted to reach the top, they had to start climbing long before anyone noticed. They had to move, think, and speak like the person they were becoming, because the habits you form in the quiet moments, the choices you make when no one is watching, those are the ones that shape your future. If you want to be confident, don't wait until you feel confident. Start by standing tall, making eye contact, and speaking with purpose. That's how confident people act, and the more you act that way, the more it becomes real. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, don't wait until you have the business card or the revenue. Wake up early, set your schedule, treat your time like it's valuable. That's what successful people do, and by doing those things, you step into that identity ahead of time. This is how success works. It rewards preparation. It responds to consistency, and those little habits you build now, they aren't just practice. They're the main event, because how you do the small things is how you'll do everything. If you can't be disciplined with $100, why would life trust you with $100? If you can't commit to 1 hour of focus a day, how will you lead a team or manage a company? The truth is, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our habits. That's why acting as if is so powerful. It forces you to live today with the discipline, courage, and clarity that your future self depends on. You're not waiting for the dream job to show up to be a professional. You're behaving like a professional now. That way, when the opportunity knocks, you're already dressed and ready to answer the door. There will be days when you don't feel like doing it. Days when your current reality looks nothing like the vision in your mind. That's when this principle matters most, because acting as if is not about motivation. It's about commitment. It's about deciding that your future deserves more than your feelings. It's about realizing that if you want to be the kind of person who finishes the race, you've got to train when no one's clapping. Think of it like this. The habits you build by acting as if are your rehearsal for greatness. They're the dry runs for the real show. Every rep at the gym, every morning you rise early, every moment you choose discipline over distraction. It all counts. It's all building the version of you who is capable of handling more, earning more, and becoming more. So don't wait for the stars to align. Don't wait until you have the job title, the recognition, or the perfect plan. Start now. Start where you are with what you have. Begin living in alignment with your vision. Behave like the person who already has what you're working toward, because when you do, those habits become part of you, and that version of you, that person of principle and preparation, is exactly who success is looking for. Opportunity doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you're ready for, and readiness isn't revealed in the big moments, it's proven in the small ones. How you handle the little things says more about your future than the things you say you're aiming for. If you're waiting for life to hand you a big opportunity so you can finally prove yourself, you've missed the principle. You prove yourself before the big moment arrives, by how you treat the small responsibilities that are already in front of you. If you want to know whether someone's ready to lead a team, just watch how they manage their time. If they can't lead themselves, how can they lead others? If someone dreams of building a business, but they don't follow through on the commitments they've made to themselves, if they don't finish what they start, if they cut corners when no one's watching, what makes them think a company will succeed under that same mindset? Life doesn't reward dreams, it rewards discipline, and discipline starts small. You see, people think success is a switch. One day you wake up and it's all there, but success is really a scale. It builds gradually, step by step, day by day, from the ground up. And the weight you can carry in the future is directly related to how much you're willing to lift today. You want to be trusted with more. Then show that you can manage what you already have with excellence. Not perfection, but excellence. The attitude that says, even if it's small, I'm going to treat it with care. I'm going to honor it. Because here's the truth, life is always watching, so are people. If you show up late to small meetings, you're telling the world you're not ready for big ones. If you treat a small project casually, you're saying, I'll only take things seriously when they get important. But that's backward thinking. Everything is important, especially the things that seem insignificant. Because how you do anything is how you'll eventually do everything. Imagine this, you're given a small patch of land, just a little garden to tend to. It's not glamorous, it doesn't feed a village, but how you treat that garden determines whether you'll ever be handed a field. If you neglect the soil, ignore the weeds, or water it inconsistently, why would anyone think you could take care of more? But if you prune it, feed it, and stay consistent, day after day, that's when people take notice. That's when doors start to open, because you've proven you can be trusted with more. The way to rise is simple, but it's not easy. You rise by honoring the present. You rise by giving your best to what's in front of you, not by waiting for something greater. Most people want to skip the small steps and jump straight to the big stage. But here's what they forget. The habits you build in the beginning are the ones that either carry or collapse you later. If you build carelessness in the small things, it multiplies when you're under pressure. But if you build discipline and character when nobody's watching, that becomes your strength when everybody is. So the next time you're handed a small task, don't brush it off, treat it like it matters. Because it does. That's the training ground, that's your preparation. Your readiness for the future is hidden in your behavior today. Every moment is a test, not of talent, but of trust. Life wants to know, can you be trusted with more? Big opportunities don't come to those who wait. They come to those who prepare, and preparation doesn't start at the top. It starts at the bottom, with the smallest decisions, the quietest habits, the things no one else claps for. And if you can be faithful with a little, you've already proven you're capable of much. There's a voice that shows up whenever you start stretching beyond your comfort zone. It whispers things like, who do you think you are? Or you don't belong here. That's imposter syndrome. It doesn't care how hard you've worked or how much you've earned your place. It creeps in the moment you begin acting like the person you've always wanted to become. And the only way to quiet that voice is not with arguments or self-praise, it's with consistency. Because nothing builds confidence like doing the thing you think you can't do over and over until it becomes second nature. You see, imposter syndrome is rooted in fear, fear of being exposed, fear of falling short. But fear loses its power in the presence of repetition. You can't think your way out of insecurity. You have to act your way through it. Every time you show up despite the doubt, every time you deliver even when your hands are shaking, you chip away at the belief that you're not enough. You start proving, through action, that you are capable, that you do belong, and the more consistent you are, the more that truth starts to stick. The mistake most people make is waiting until they feel ready before they start. But that's backwards. You don't get confidence first and then act. You act consistently, and confidence follows. You show up and do the work, whether you feel like a fraud or not, because the feelings will come and go, but the habits you build will stay with you. And it's those habits, built in quiet, uncertain moments, that form the foundation of real belief in yourself. Think about someone who's just starting a new role, launching a business, or stepping into leadership. It's normal to feel out of place at first. That's not a sign that you don't belong. It's a sign that you're growing. Growth is uncomfortable. You're stepping into a version of yourself you haven't fully lived in yet. But if you keep showing up, if you keep doing the work day after day, you start to become that person from the inside out. You don't need to fake it. You just need to keep showing up. Let's be clear. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means persistence. It means you get back up every time you fall. It means you honor the process even when the results aren't instant. Over time, this kind of steady effort becomes your evidence. It becomes the story you tell yourself about who you are. And eventually, you no longer need to convince yourself that you belong. You know it because you've earned it, one step at a time. There's something deeply empowering about keeping promises to yourself. When you say, "I'm going to do this," and then you do it again and again, you begin to trust yourself, and self-trust is the antidote to self-doubt. The more you trust yourself, the less power that little voice of doubt holds over you. You stop waiting for external validation because your consistency becomes your confidence. You don't need applause. You've got your own proof. That's why it's so important to keep going, especially when it feels awkward or unnatural. That's not imposter syndrome, that's transformation. And transformation always feels foreign at first, but give it time. Consistency has a way of turning strangers into friends, and unfamiliar roles into comfortable routines. Before long, what once felt impossible becomes normal. What once felt like not you becomes part of who you are. So if you're doubting yourself today, if you're feeling like you're not ready or not worthy, don't wait for the feeling to change. Act, commit, stay the course, show up again tomorrow. The truth is, you don't overcome imposter syndrome with a pep talk. You overcome it with proof, and consistency is your proof. Every step you take in faith builds a bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. So don't let the voice of doubt win. Let your daily actions speak louder. Because when you keep showing up, day in and day out, there comes a point when even imposter syndrome has to admit you're the real deal. In the end, what will set you apart, the thing that will define your success, is not some magical moment when everything falls into place. It will be your willingness to keep showing up, to keep doing the work even when it feels uncomfortable, and to act as if you've already achieved it. It's in the small actions that you build the foundation for bigger opportunities. Every decision you make, every step you take is part of the process. The person you become is determined by how you handle the little things today. And remember, consistency is the key. Every time you show up despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the imposter syndrome, you're proving something to yourself. You're proving that you have what it takes, that you're ready for the next level, and over time, you won't need to convince yourself anymore. Your consistency will become the story of who you are and where you're going. So, I challenge you today, don't wait for perfection. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Act as if, be consistent, treat every step, no matter how small, as though it's leading you to something greater. Because the truth is, it is. You're not just building the path to your goals, you're becoming the person who deserves to walk that path. You've got what it takes, now take the steps, keep showing up, and one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the journey you were on was the very thing that made you unstoppable. Thank you.